In a bustling Nashville supermarket, a routine shopping trip turned into a fiery showdown when Karoline, White House secretary, faced off with an enraged stranger. What began as a political ambush quickly became a test of composure and a lesson in humanity that left the crowd stunned and rethinking their assumptions in just 20 minutes. That day, Karoline wasn't seeking attention. She just wanted to quickly finish her shopping at a suburban Nashville supermarket before rushing to an important meeting in less than 40 minutes. Her shopping list was simple: milk, a loaf of bread, a few packs of frozen vegetables. Ordinary items for a busy day. The supermarket buzzed with crying children, teenagers gathered near the fast food counter, and office workers hurriedly squeezing in their lunch breaks. No one could have predicted that within the next 15 minutes the place would turn into a dramatic stage. As Karoline entered the frozen food aisle, a shrill voice pierced the air. "Unbelievable! People like you dare to show your face here like nothing's wrong?" It was loud enough to turn a few heads. Karoline paused, thinking it was directed at someone else, until the voice snapped again. "Yes, I'm talking to you, Karoline." She turned around. Standing before her was a woman in her 50s, her messy brown hair tied into a loose bun, wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the slogan championing individual freedom. Her hands gripped her shopping basket tightly, her eyes blazing with fury. Karoline exhaled softly. Accustomed to political storms, fiery debates, tense interviews, and social media battles, she was no stranger to hostility. But in the middle of a crowded supermarket, that was different. People around her began to take notice. A mother near the yogurt section stopped, glancing over. A couple by the checkout whispered to each other, their eyes fixed on the scene. The atmosphere grew heavy. "Is something wrong?" Karoline asked, her voice steady. The woman let out a scornful laugh. "You're the problem," she shouted. "People like you, spreading toxic ideas, thinking you can live carefree without accountability. You make me sick." Karoline didn't flinch. She stood still, shoulders relaxed. If she responded with anger, it would only escalate. She noticed the woman's trembling hands and rapid breathing. This wasn't just about politics. It was a deeper emotional storm. "Look," Karoline said calmly, "I don't know what's upsetting you, but—" The woman cut her off, stepping closer. "Don't play innocent," she roared. "You and your kind are a danger. Do you know what we've had to endure because of you people?" The crowd's curiosity grew. A man near the flower stand held his phone, discreetly trying to record. A young cashier stopped scanning items, eyes darting as if unsure whether to call a manager. Karoline held her ground. She was used to attacks from the press and smear campaigns, but this was rawer, more primal. This woman wasn't a pundit scoring points. She was unloading pure rage. Karoline wondered, would she yell louder, charge at her? Or would security step in just in time? One thing was certain, all eyes were on her. The supermarket's atmosphere shifted. People weren't just shopping anymore. They were watching a drama unfold. Some abandoned their carts, standing still. Others discreetly pulled out phones, pretending to scroll but actually filming. A couple near the dairy aisle whispered, their eyes gleaming with anticipation of an explosion. The woman took another step forward, pointing at Karoline's face. "People like you are ruining this country," she bellowed. "You think you're so smart, so righteous, but you're just a fraud, a threat to freedom." Karoline kept her breathing steady, her mind racing. The woman wanted a reaction, wanted her to snap and fuel the fire. But she didn't. "I get that you're angry," Karoline said, her voice still controlled, "but I'm just here to shop like everyone else." That only infuriated the woman more. "You don't get to act normal," she screamed, her voice echoing through the store. A mother near the bakery pulled her child closer. A young employee at the self-checkout froze, glancing toward the front desk. A sharp silence fell, cutting like a knife. Karoline sensed the shift. The tension wasn't just between her and the woman anymore. It had spread throughout the supermarket. A few people nodded, seemingly agreeing with the woman's fury. Others looked annoyed, as if they'd been unwillingly dragged into a spectacle bigger than a routine grocery trip. Then, suddenly, the woman lunged. Not quite an attack, but too close, too aggressive. If she'd moved any further, It could have turned physical. Gasps rippled through the store. A man in a blue shirt near the flower section stepped forward, ready to intervene. A woman behind Karoline muttered, "This is bad." But Karoline stood firm, not backing away, not raising a hand. She looked straight into the woman's eyes. "I'm not afraid of you," she said, her voice resolute. The woman's face twisted, teetering on the edge of losing control. Her breathing faltered, her shoulders shook, her hands clenched. But then, a flicker of doubt crossed her eyes. She'd expected a fight, expected Karoline to yell or crumble, yet there Karoline stood, unshaken. A man near the checkout, about 60, with silver hair, arms crossed, spoke up. "This isn't the place for this, ma'am." The woman whipped around, her face flushed. "Stay out of it," she snapped. But the mood had shifted. The crowd wasn't just watching anymore. They were reacting. A woman near the fruit section whispered to her husband, "This is crazy. She's just shopping." A young guy in a t-shirt with a slogan opposing Karoline's politics shook his head. This is too much. The supermarket was no longer a store. It was an arena. Every glance, every murmur focused on the two women. The aggressors still seethed, but Karoline held her calm. "I get it," she said, her voice firm yet gentle. "You don't like me, don't like what I stand for, but you're not scaring me." The woman scoffed, her laugh sharp and cold. "Scared? Oh, please. You think you're a victim after what you and your people have done?" Her voice cracked. Not just with anger, but with pain. Karoline saw it. This wasn't just about her. This woman carried a deeper wound, beyond politics. She could have struck back, dismantled her with words that would have gone viral online. But she didn't. Instead, she tilted her head and asked sincerely, "What are you really mad about?" The woman faltered, caught off guard. Her mouth opened, then closed, her hands dropping. The supermarket fell silent, save for the hum of the overhead lights and the faint beep of a forgotten scanner. Karoline took a step forward, not aggressively, not defensively, just a gesture of understanding. "I'm serious," she said more softly. "I don't think this is just about me." The woman's breathing grew labored, as if everything was about to spill out right there in the frozen food aisle. But then she stiffened, her anger snapping back like armor. "Don't you dare turn this around," she snapped. Karoline didn't reply, letting the moment pass. The crowd shifted. Those who had been waiting for a spectacle now saw something else. They saw a woman unraveling, and Karoline standing there, not as a politician, but as a person. The guy holding his phone from the start slowly lowered it. The older man near the checkout muttered, A young woman near the bakery, who'd earlier whispered, "This is bad," now seemed to question her own thoughts. The woman sensed the change. Her anger morphed into confusion, her gaze darting around the crowd, her once captive audience now uncertain. But before she could react, a voice cut through, "That's enough." It wasn't security, not the manager, but a customer, a man in his 40s wearing a gray t-shirt and faded jeans, standing near the checkout. He crossed his arms, his voice steady and firm. "I said, that's enough." The woman spun around, still defensive. "What?" she barked. He shrugged. "I just want to pay and go home, but now I'm stuck watching you yell at someone buying groceries. So yeah, this involves me." Murmurs of agreement rippled through. The young woman near the bakery spoke up. "She didn't even raise her voice at you and you just kept screaming." The woman opened her mouth to retort, but found no words. A kid near the self-checkout let out a soft whistle, as if signaling what everyone was starting to realize. She was losing ground. Karoline didn't push back, didn't take the bait. She let the situation unravel on its own, and now the woman stood amid the wreckage she'd created. Her confidence dissolved, replaced by unease. She glanced toward the door, as if considering an exit. Then security arrived. A staff member in a red shirt and another in uniform stepped forward. "Ma'am, we need you to leave," the guard said, his tone neutral but firm. The woman froze. "What? I'm being kicked out?" she shouted, but no one backed her up. She looked around, the man with crossed arms, the young woman staring, the silent crowd. The guy filming from the start had lowered his phone. She realized it was over. Her shoulders slumped, her hands fell limp. Without a word of defense, she turned, shoved her cart toward the door, and trudged out, her steps heavy. The guards followed, ensuring no further trouble. The tension broke. People exhaled, chatter erupted, and the supermarket returned to normal. But not quite. Karoline had earned the crowd's respect in a way no speech could match. But the surprises weren't over. As the automatic doors closed behind the woman, Karoline let out a breath, rolling her shoulders as if shedding a weight. She hadn't planned to be the center of attention on an ordinary afternoon, yet all eyes remained on her. "That was impressive," a man near the checkout said, shaking his head in admiration. An elderly woman in a floral dress approached, pushing up her glasses. "I don't like your politics," she said, "but I admire how you kept your cool today." Karoline smiled politely. "Thank you." Then a young guy in a t-shirt clearly opposing her views stepped forward, scratching his neck. "I thought you'd lose it," he admitted. "I figured this would be some viral meltdown, but you didn't. That's surprising." Karoline raised an eyebrow. "Is it?" He smirked. "I still don't agree with you, but I respect you. Didn't see that coming today." Karoline gave a real smile. That was worth more than any debate. As she pushed her cart toward the exit, the young woman from the bakery called out, "I'm sorry," she said, her voice shaky. "I didn't speak up at first when she came at you. I just watched." Karoline looked at her, nodding. "I get it. It's not easy to step in. But you spoke when it mattered." The girl smiled faintly, and then, unexpectedly, an older man near the self-checkout clapped, slowly, deliberately. Another joined, then another. It wasn't a roaring ovation, but a genuine acknowledgement. Karoline felt her throat tighten, not from sadness, but gratitude. In a divided world, moments like this could still happen. At the checkout, the cashier, Mia, whispered, "I saw everything. People don't talk anymore, they just fight. You could have done that, but you didn't. That's different." Karoline smiled. "I didn't see a reason to add fuel to the fire." Mia nodded, handing over the receipt. "You changed at least one mind today," she said louder, her eyes sparkling. As Karoline stepped outside, the young guy from earlier called out, "Hey!" She turned. He hesitated, then shrugged. "I still don't agree with you," he said. Karoline chuckled. "I didn't think 20 minutes in a supermarket would change that." He laughed. "But I respect you. Didn't expect that." She nodded, pushing her cart to her car, feeling the day transform from a burden into a reminder. This wasn't just about politics. It was about people, their pain, their anger, and sometimes the strongest way to respond isn't to fight back, but to stand calm. When you refuse to play the game of division, you build something lasting, even if it's just one changed mind, and maybe that's enough.